Power Rangers is the reboot of the popular Power Rangers franchise that started in the 1990s with Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Now, backstory. So, growing up, Power Rangers was my shit back in the day. I actually remember growing up, and Mighty Morphin Power Rangers was a big deal for me. I collected all the toys, things like that. And I specifically remember when I was about 3 years old, that my mom actually took me to see the first the first theatrical Power Rangers movie, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers the movie. I remember when we actually had our old theater that was still open in the mall, and my mom actually took me to see that.
Yeah. And I gotta say that he'll have more backstory in this because he got in the cartoons. I was kind of minor really on the regular like the TV shows. I was really not much of a stronghold. I was bits and pieces with them. I did have the action figures. I did own them. But I also went on opening night and seen the first one, the first motion picture, like big time movie with Ivan Ooze, and I actually used to have the little purple goo stuff that they and I did enjoy the hell out of that one. But keep in mind, me being a fan of Power Rangers was a short stint. I was already getting older. Me and him got like a 5-6 year age difference, so. I pretty much, after the first movie, I say give or take a year or so, or maybe 2, I was already out. Alright, was it 2 years since Turbo came out?
It was about,
was it 2 years later?
I think it was about, Turbo I believe was 98, I think.
2 years
Might
later?
Have been, probably.
So about 2-3 years later, around the time Turbo was coming, was at Turbo, the sequel, I was already done with it, so I didn't really care about seeing the other ones. So I pretty much, after that, this is the first Power Rangers I watched since the first the big movie.
Yeah,
in the 90s.
Well, and going back a little bit to the TV series, I actually watched all the way up because the TV series had 3 seasons of Mighty Morphin, and then the next one was I believe it was 3 seasons, and then the next one I believe was Power Rangers Zeo. Then the next one was Turbo, the Power Rangers, which also had its own live theatrical film. That I remember not watching theaters, but I watched on video, and that's what got me introduced to that show.
I remember watching the one where they had to kick the Z.
That's Mighty Morphin Power Rangers the movie.
Yeah. Well, they did it in the TV shows sometimes too.
I think that's it.
That was really the older ones, really old.
Yeah,
ones.
I think you're referring to Lord Zed. That's the guy with the Z, I think.
Yeah, I remember him.
Yeah. But anyway. Yeah, growing up, I watched all the way of Power Rangers up until they did In Space. After In Space was over, that's when I pretty much moved on to other stuff. Yeah. So, going into this movie with the new Power Rangers, you could tell that me, a longtime fan, because I hadn't seen it in over some years, I actually kind of got pumped for it because it seemed like now that with this film, they were kind of basically taking a darker spin on the franchise.
Which is pretty cool, and I was kind of like anxious to see it, but keep in mind, again, Power Rangers, I was kind of like, wasn't a big fan, but I was waiting to see what I was from the trailers to judge it. Now, I will say I love the dark tone, and I was ready for it, but we also remember a Fantastic Four movie that did the exact same thing.
Yeah.
So upon watching the first trailer, it made me think of that failure piece of shit 2 years ago or a year ago.
It was 2015, yeah.
Yeah, 2 years ago, the final Fantastic Four, and I was like, oh man, because of the big gap on Power Rangers and that looking like the Fantastic Four started making me think I started to think I was worried it was going to be a failure.
Yeah, and when not to really go over the place, but if you remember, Power Rangers was one of those shows that it was very cheesy, but you can tell it was made for the 90s. And it was, because what I also didn't realize from watching reviews of, say, Lewis Lovhaug, who plays the internet personality Linkara, and he did these history of Power Rangers. What I didn't realize was that the original TV show was actually was using footage when they have their battle scenes in the footage. The actual footage themselves is from another TV series that was from the 70s called Super Sentai. So actually, we weren't even watching a fully American version. We were actually seeing a half Japanese version and a half American version.
Yeah.
So with this one, it was like, no longer do that. They're all, this one's completely American made.
Yeah.
So, and this one got me really curious because being a longtime Power Rangers fan, it really made me curious how they're going to take a darker spin with these characters because, but as the story pretty much goes, we have these group of characters. As you remember from Mighty Morphin, you have Jason, Kimberly, Trini, Zach, and Billy, who are these teenagers at Angel Grove, and they all have their own pretty much distinct personalities.
And they're all they're pretty much all troublemakers. So at the beginning, you kind of get the whole Breakfast Club feel.
Yeah, that's what it was kind of reminded me of. Yeah, and basically one day Billy, who's pretty much the eccentric kind of geeky kid, he goes to this. Where is it at exactly? It's like
it was
like in the mountains.
It was a mining field that his father, I guess, once worked at or owned, and his father's deceased now, died like when he was younger. But dad's been kind of like a geek, like he was, and apparently his dad's been like kind of like what an archaeologist would do. He's been wanting to dig up, and it was pretty much, I guess it was his dad told him there was something out there that he needs to dig up, so he's kind of carrying on his father's work.
Yeah, and
that's
then
what he's doing out there.
And then coincidentally, all 5 of them are pretty much in the same location because they're all doing their own thing. And then one day they go deep beneath into the water, into like the caves or whatever, and they discover these power.
Actually, no,
crystals.
it was whenever the dude blew it up. He was blowing up the side of it, and when he did, they all heard, and then it puts everybody heard it, so it put, ironically, just the 5 in one area, and then like they looked at the side of where they blew up at, and it's crystals, and inside are the 5 emblem things, little medallions.
Yeah, and that's when we see that throughout the course of the film, they discover that they have powers because, well, we see that they get in trouble and everything because they're trying to get away from the people. From the security guard who's like going around, with the area, and then they get into a wreck. And then weirdest thing is, next morning they all discover that they have abilities. They're actually that they were not damaged. So throughout the course of the film, they discover that there's this ancient being named Zordon who's this who, not going to go into detail because there's a great backstory involved, but he basically, like the original Soul, he summons the Power Rangers to pretty much. The 5 kids to become the Power Rangers stop Rita Repulsa.
And you remember Rita from the
kind of gypsy-looking woman with the weird hair and everything. Yeah. So basically,
which is played by the girl from
Elizabeth Banks
from
Zack and
Mary Make a Porno and a couple other films.
Pitch
Quite
Perfect,
a few of it.
Slither and things like that. So and 4-Year-Old Virgin, things like that. So it was really interesting seeing her as Rita Repulsa in this one because. I actually really enjoyed her performance.
I did too.
I actually thought that she brought in the kind of really campy side to her, but also the very dark and serious role that they were taking.
Which was cool because Power Rangers, I was expecting them to kind of be more kiddish with the costumes because it is considered still overall kids watch it, so I thought they were really going to do that part. But man, they actually made her look like a freaking, like I thought I was watching Night of the Demons. They made her pretty.
Yeah, she was pretty fucking creepy.
Yeah.
And in a way, it was like Night of the Demons makes a little bit of like Amazing Spider-Man 2, Green Goblin.
Yeah.
Kind of. With the whole long fingers.
Instead of doing the whole costume overtaking the makeup, then now you see movies doing makeup overtakes the costume.
Yeah, which
I do like better because some of them ridiculous. Like, for instance, Tobey Maguire Spider-Man 1, you get they were relying on costume, which kind of outdates itself.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of glad they did more menacing makeup, like visually.
Yeah, and I gotta tell you right now that this movie really surprised me. Like, first of all, I really enjoyed everyone's performance. I thought that the teenagers themselves, everyone was perfectly cast in this.
Yeah, perfect cast. I thought everybody did good. They had a lot of charm. They brought a lot of charm to their characters, a lot of good laughters, and they didn't overdo the comedy. It worked very well, blended with the movie, the scenes they were in.
Yeah,
which I enjoyed.
And every character has their own distinct personality because unlike from what I remember from the original TV show, everyone was pretty much like basically I want to say a 90s stereotype. Basically because in the 90s they didn't really rely too much on a lot of TV shows. They didn't really on kids TV shows. I don't think they rely too much on like depth. This one they actually really brought out their personalities. You really get to see a lot of like deep back stories involved with
it. This is a really story developed, and give or take, some people may not like that, and sometimes you can fail miserably at it, like in Fantastic Four. But this one they did very well. I really got into the character build up in this. I liked watching them grow up and going in real character detail so we can get to know these people, so we can feel the emotions of them.
Yeah.
I even thought, and I'm not going to spoil anything, but there's actually a backstory with Zordon, which I was really glad to see that. I was like, wow.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And this is a really good character development written movie.
Yeah,
I thought they did very well.
It's a great origin story with how
origins,
we see these characters grow, because it's actually basically, if you take Chronicle and, well, I want to say probably the last 10 minutes, basically makes it with a little bit of Pacific Rim, with the whole giant robots fighting monsters kind of thing. Yeah. So I really enjoyed the characters, the way that their chemistry worked too, because you can really feel like these people would actually hang out in real life. Yeah. You know, and not just that, but I really got to give praise to a lot of the score too, because in a way the score has like kind of a synthesized kind of music to it. Yeah. Kind of reminds you of the 80s a little bit. And
I did get into the score, but what was really cool is how much this movie, even though it's taking a serious tone, and a lot of people I've seen kind of complain about the tone, don't know where it wants to be. I kind of didn't think the tone was really that bad as what a lot of people's made it out to be, because even though I love the seriousness, I did like how they brought some of the classic shit in it with the music. Yeah. Go Power Rangers! Out of nowhere, I was like, whoa! So I did thought, out of respect and nostalgia, I thought that was pretty clever.
Yeah, I thought it was. I mean, it was cool hearing that kick-ass guitar song that goes, Go Power Rangers, you know, and also when we actually finally get to see them in battle and everything, it was a blast, because it was like watching the TV series again. Yeah. So it was like it was like I was brought back into the 90s.
You know, you get the classic where they're all, you know, doing their ninja stuff, and then you get them building up that big Megazord. This movie screams classic, but at the same time, it's building its own origins. I can now for this movie does so well in origins, you don't need to make an origin movie no more. And I can actually really see the future movies and watch them build a franchise out of this, and still feel the emotions of characters, because I know who they are.
Yeah, you could actually really identify with them, and not just that, but this film, in its first film, actually takes some like very all bets are off, because they actually raise the stakes fucking high with
vulnerability. This. Oh my God, there's like, this movie was doing this a lot, and I'll tell you right now, I did not see this coming when they were doing that.
Yeah, I was really glad that they had the courtesy to actually do that. You know, and not just that, but I got to also give credit to the character of Zordon, played by Bryan Cranston. I thought Cranston was even great too.
Bryan Cranston did good,
and Bill Hader as Alpha 5.
I'll tell you right now, Malcolm Middle. He's been known for that role, but I think the Breaking Bad is what made him big, because ever since that, he's playing in so many movies now.
Yeah, and he was, you know, and I really like the robot Alpha 5. Yeah. In a strange way, and this is coming from me because I remember watching it growing up, I do actually like this Alpha 5 better than the TV show. Because for one, now granted, I do like the look better in the original TV show, but on the voice, I do give Bill Hader more as the Alpha 5, because I thought that he didn't quite annoy me. He didn't annoy me at all like the original TV show. Because the original TV show, that Alpha 5 was just too like constantly. He does do that in this one too, but he toned it down. So I still at least like that they at least took Alpha 5 into more of a different approach that was actually best suited for the character.
Yeah. All right. Now that being said, get into our cons. I will say that this movie I noticed some pretty bad editing on some parts. There is a scene where it goes from them at the campfire, then it contradicts its scene, because then you seen it in the trailer where Rita meets the Yellow Ranger girl,
Trini,
and it was like, okay, you were just at the campfire, and then all of a sudden you're just there talking to her, and finding her. I thought Rita found the Rangers too easy. Yeah, she just already knew who they was without like seeing any kind of out of ordinary where she can start saying, "Oh God, the Rangers are back." To her, the Rangers are dead. So how would she know to look for them?
Yeah, I mean,
so that was a big problem.
Yeah, there was no actual like leeway into that scene, basically. Mm-hmm. Not just that. One of my cons was I did feel like, now I understand the film was relying a lot of trying to do basically a mix of both the seriousness and the fun factor. Well, two factors go into this for me. There were a couple of times where maybe the tone was a little off in certain serious scenes, especially when, again, no spoilers, but when one character is about to basically show vulnerability, they basically kind of throw in a joke that was out of nowhere that didn't really fit with the scene. They do that a couple of times too, especially when they have their big battle.
I guess I can give you that too.
Yeah, not just
I will
that.
say that for a great character development story, unfortunately with that you will get lack of climaxing, where it wasn't anti-climax, it was good. I'm just saying, like, the last final battle was pretty much short.
It was short-lived.
It was short-lived. It was not really just short-lived, but it was really fast, like it was trying to get to the final end. Like,
yeah.
It was kind of rushing, like, where they're just like, boom, 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 fight, fight.
Now,
it's over.
Now, it is good with how they're at least testing
works,
the way their strength and everything. The problem is, well, this is probably more for me, I really wish they could have spent more time doing more fighting in their actual suits before they get to the big climax, because that was kind of short-lived when they fight some of the putties, but then they go into the actual the Megazord, or I'm sorry, their Zords, and then they form. So
yeah, you don't see much of the classic ninja fighting.
Same thing with the final battle. The final battle is cool. It's just that it's very short-lived because it goes by too fast.
Yeah,
and
they kind of pretty much they're having a hard time fighting her. You can feel like the toughness, but at the same time, it is also so short-lived that you find like they kind of defeated her kind of easy in a way.
Yeah.
So
now I'm not going to go into detail with this, but I will say when it gets to the ending, I was actually very smiling in the theaters because I saw something that I didn't think would ever happen in a Power Rangers movie, and when you see it, you'll find out. I'm not going to tell you what it is because it was a great respect to the original series, and for that I give that really good glowing praise. So overall, though, I did enjoy Power Rangers. I thought it has a great start to this franchise, basically rebooting it. I think they're going in a good direction with this.
And I did go in this film going with extreme low expectations because I seriously thought it was going to turn out like Fantastic Four. So I was going in so low expectations, but I'll tell you right now, I walked out pretty pleased.
I did too.
I actually can't wait to see the other ones.
I am too. I'm very pumped on what else they could do with it, because I'm hoping the next one they'll do Lord Zed, because he was like, if you remember, he was kind of like a cross with like Freddy Krueger with like Bioman or whatever, But overall, yeah, I'm going to give this film an 8 out of 10.
Alright, I'm going to give Power Rangers also 8 out of 10.
Fair enough. What did you guys think of Power Rangers? Comment below, and if you like what you see here, you can check out more of our reviews. We'll be seeing you in our next one. We'll see you later.
Later.